Good morning. I'm Sarah Pearson in the News 2 Alert Center with your morning pulse. Emergency officials say the Cottonwood fire remains 100% contained. However, crews are still watching for flare-ups as warm, dry, and windy conditions continue to raise concerns to start the week. Region 51 Emergency Manager Brandon Myers briefed Lincoln County Commissioners on the wildfire's rapid spread, evacuations near Jeffrey Lake, and the damage left behind. Myers said the Cottonwood fire ignited March 12th with the first 911 call coming in just before 3:30 p.m., stressing that weather conditions were extreme on the day and the blaze ignited with temperatures around 76 degrees, wind gusts at 30 to 45 miles per hour, and humidity near 14%.
We lost a total of 3 that we know of so far, completely destroyed, 2 that are damaged, and about 40-something outbuildings that were destroyed. Still have not heard that we've lost cattle in it. We do know that we'll probably lose calves due to respiratory illness because of this. The number's not quite clear on how many sheep and goats. We've heard anywhere between 200 and 900 that were killed in the fire.
Each Thursday, the U.S. Drought Monitor is published showing how dry each part of the country is. Over the past 6 months, there's been plenty of orange and red across the Great Plains, meaning severe or extreme drought. Curtis Riganti is a climatologist at UNL, helping publish the map every week. He says unusually warm and windy conditions are leading to significant droughts across the central and southern Great Plains. The latest map from March 26 shows a majority of Nebraska is currently in at least a severe drought, which Riganti says creates prime conditions for fire. And despite rain in the forecast this week, he says it won't be nearly enough to fully turn things around.
We're going to need is ideally cooler than normal temperatures, cloudy conditions, higher humidity, and several precipitation events where we have good, slow soaking rains that can really efficiently get into the soil. So this week's event certainly won't hurt and should help locally, but it doesn't look like a drought buster.
Riganti says a lack of snow in the Rocky Mountains is also contributing to drought conditions, which could mean less water running downstream into Nebraska this spring and summer. The Supreme Court is hearing a case on birthright citizenship tomorrow. President Trump is trying to change it with an executive order. He doesn't want it to apply to babies born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants. The 14th Amendment says, quote, persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. The Trump administration argues the jurisdiction part empowers Trump's executive order. Husker softball is back in action tonight as they hit the road to face Creighton. Nebraska is coming off a series win over number 7 UCLA this past weekend. They currently sit at 26-6 overall, while the Blue Jays sit at 500 at 18-18. First pitch is set for 5, and the game can be seen on ESPN+. And the Husker baseball team also in action against Creighton. Nebraska looks to add to a 6-game win streak tonight. They are coming off a series sweep over Indiana this past weekend. First pitch is set for 6, and that game can also be seen on ESPN+.
Well, hi, everybody. Good morning to meteorologist Travis Klineski here on this Tuesday morning. We are wrapping up the month of March a little bit on like a lion. We're going out like a lion. You know, you say coming in like a lamb or coming out like a lion, however it is. Well, today I'm going to call it a lion because the winds are roaring this morning. Those winds are pretty strong out there. We've got a cold front that is now basically sitting in far southeast Nebraska and exiting our area, and it's behind that front. We've got brisk north and northeast or northerly winds this morning. They're going to be up there sustained 15 to 30, 35 miles per hour. Gusts that are as high as 30 to 50 miles per hour. So we're going to be dealing with some pretty strong winds. I think the worst winds will be this morning. They'll come down a little bit this afternoon, although they're still going to be noticeable, but not as strong later today. Cloud cover wise, we've kind of got a mix of clouds and clearing this morning, but I think as the day goes on, more clouds will start to fill in. The chance of moisture is limited, maybe some sprinkles, but most of us will not see moisture today. Tonight, chances remain pretty limited, but we'll especially watch the northwest for a little bit of rain and then maybe a little snow later tonight and into tomorrow morning. Winds lighter but still breezy, this time now more out of an east to northeast direction. southeasterly here. But as the day goes on tomorrow, we go from maybe some sporadic showers in the morning to some scattered showers into the afternoon, maybe isolated thunder and lightning, especially off to the east, lightning and thunder, I should say. And then check out what happens as we get into Wednesday evening. Showers and thunderstorms, eastern Nebraska especially. Some thunderstorm activity there. Isolated thunderstorms into central Nebraska. And then rain changing back to snow off to the northwest. So our chances of rain get better and better as we head into the night, Wednesday night. And if you start talking about thunderstorms, maybe some heavier rain in some spots anyway. And this will continue right into your Thursday morning. So Thursday morning, here's our low pressure center very close to Fremont. That counterclockwise rotation. Some on the backside of that, we still have some moisture, some breezy northwest winds, and that rain still mixed with and changed into snow up here to the northwest. That's where the best chance of accumulating snow is going to be. This will last through Thursday morning. This will be mostly out of here by Thursday afternoon. In fact, some sun's going to come out, and these areas are really going to warm up on Thursday afternoon. So it turns out to be a decent Thursday afternoon over western and southwest Nebraska, but staying kind of chilly across the northeast. So rainfall totals, and again, this is one forecast model, so just keep that in mind that this isn't an exact science, because thunderstorms can make a difference. A thunderstorm moves over your area, that can produce extra rainfall. So, but you look for trends, and again, when you look at the trends, higher amounts of moisture to the north and to the east, and lower chances of moisture the farther south, or lower amounts of moisture as you go to the southwest. So we will see the lower amounts, maybe even under 1/4 of an inch in some cases. That's not great news, of course, because we are all looking forward to this moisture, and there are some that may not get real helpful moisture. And again, I'm especially talking about folks in northern Kansas, southwest Nebraska, the Panhandle. These are areas that may end out with under 1/4 of an inch of rainfall when it's all said and done. But then again, 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch pretty likely in here, and then maybe some spots over an inch. But again, a thunderstorm could change that, and maybe you get a lot more in some isolated spots, such as that or this. Thunderstorms can make a big difference. Of course, there is also the snow aspect of things here. And there could be up to a few inches of snowfall in northwest portions of the area here up in the Sandhills. We may see 1, 2, 3, maybe as much as 4 inches of snowfall there. Looks like a much bigger deal up into South Dakota. They're probably going to be putting out some kind of warnings, winter storm warnings or things like that. I could see a winter weather advisory possible in the Valentine area, possibly. All right, I'm getting my other keyboard here because I do want to go into my editor mode real quick here. So you're going to see the rainfall map pop back up here. And the reason why I want to do this is I want to show you a couple of other forecast models. So I'm going to switch over to the North American model. Play that out real quick. So again, you see the trends. Northern and eastern areas, more rain, less rain the farther southwest you go. Let's switch over now to the European model. And I'll play this out again here. Here's the European model. And again, you see the trends. Northern and eastern areas, especially northern areas, more rainfall, less rain as you go to the southwest. And finally, the GFS model. Oh, hold on. I got to take off the European numbers. Again, this is actually, the GFS is less optimistic than any of them, but again, the trends show us there's still more to the north and east compared to farther to the southwest. So that is one thing, is you're looking for trends when it comes to some of those long-range forecast models. Now to the snowfall map. Again, I showed you this is our in-house model right here. Well, what about a couple of other models here? Let's go to the North American model. Again, keeps most of the heavy snow well to our north and mostly just has a very light snow to the Sandhills area. Back that up real quick and I'll shift over to the European model. We'll play that one out there. And again, maybe an inch or two of snow up there in northern Nebraska. And finally, the GFS model. And GFS is a little slow to load in here, so I apologize. It's giving you the numbers now, but not the colors. Let's try that again. There we go. That one's a little farther east, but it seems to be the outlier compared to all the other models here. So But again, maybe an inch or two of snowfall. But it is a little bit of an outlier compared to some of those other models. So we'll see how things play out there. All right, we'll continue on here. We're going to look at the forecast highs for today, which of course are going to be much cooler as I put my keyboard back down here. We're going to be looking at high temperatures today, much cooler than yesterday's 80s and lower 90s. Today it's upper 40s, 50s, some 60s in the southeast. We'll drop back to the 30s tonight in most locations, a few 40s in southeast Nebraska, and maybe some upper 20s around Valentine. Tomorrow's temperature is going to be on the cool side, especially with that rain around in the afternoon. Temperatures topping out in the 40s, lower 50s, maybe some mid 50s here. Again, this is where the better chance of maybe some stronger thunderstorms is going to be here. There is actually a small chance of severe weather in far southeast Nebraska, just outside of our area. Here's a look at tomorrow night, then back to the upper 20s, 30s, and 40s. Again, those 40s in southeastern parts of the area. Then as we look ahead to your day on Thursday, now again, still cooler in the northeast with the lingering clouds and the moisture there, but to the southwest, the sun's going to come out, so warmer temperatures the farther southwest that you go. And then looking at Thursday night and a Friday morning, we get another shot of some colder air beginning to come in from the northwest as our next system approaches. So it's going to be a little chillier in the 20s up north, 30s, 40s farther to the south. And it's going to be kind of a chilly day on Friday, 30s and 40s for highs. Now, my colors and my numbers don't match, which tells me that some of the long-range models are different from each other right now. That's kind of an interesting thing to see. So our colors come from a different model than the numbers do. So Friday is kind of a not set in stone kind of a day. Looking down the road when it comes to the long range forecast here, again, the best chance of moisture is going to come tomorrow, especially tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night through early on Thursday morning. I took out the snow chance for the Tri-Cities. Unfortunately, that next chance down the road does not look as promising for Friday afternoon, Friday night, and early Saturday morning. It's going to be kind of chilly to end the week, but a much nicer day on Easter Sunday. It will be a cold start for those early risers. Say you have a Easter morning sunrise service or something like that. It's going to be kind of cold out there in the morning, but a nice afternoon. And then we're going to trend a little milder into next week here with moisture chances on the limited side until maybe the end of next week. So it does look like we'll be a little bit warmer as we head into that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday time frame here. There are some interesting changes that may try to come towards next Friday or Saturday. Looking at North Platte's forecast, there's the rainfall coming tomorrow, especially tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night, wrapping up early on Thursday morning. Thursday should be a nicer afternoon as the sun comes out. Friday, again, just a small chance of rain Friday. Cooler weather Friday and Saturday, maybe a little more wind on Saturday. Sunday looks good, but after a cold start, it's going to be pretty chilly in the morning, in the lower 20s there, but warming up into the low 70s in the afternoon. And then again, we kind of trend on the milder side of things for next weekend. In fact, the Climate Prediction Center, right now they have got next week, basically next Tuesday through the following Monday, as most of the country now above average, including our area, a pretty decent chance of being above average during that time frame. And they have us in the near to slightly above average precipitation, part of their outlook for that same time frame. And that may be geared towards maybe the end of next week, though. So again, looking at the NAM forecast model, here is our one system tomorrow night. And then this takes us through Thursday. There's the next system Friday morning. Now, again, notice better chances the farther northeast you go. Unfortunately, I think a lot of us are going to get dry slotted with this storm system right here, that dry air punching in right there. That's the dry, that's what we call, that's the dry slot right there. And unfortunately, a lot of our area may miss out on moisture here. Let's take a look at the European model. Again, there's our first system for tomorrow and tomorrow night through early on Thursday morning. Moves on out, the next one right on its tail, but again, look at the dry slot right there. So unfortunately, most of the moisture may stay to our north and to our east. A good snowstorm to our north, rain and thunderstorms to our east and southeast. And then we're probably waiting until the very end of next week before we see a better chance of moisture making its return to our area. And finally, the GFS model. There's tomorrow's system, tomorrow night through early on Thursday. The next one on Friday, again, there's the dry slot right there. So the majority of us miss out on the moisture. Best chances to the north and to the east. And then we're waiting probably until later next week. There's a small chance on Tuesday, but I think later in the week is where we get maybe a better chance of some moisture that returns once again. I really quick do want to show the outlooks for the severe weather potential the next 3 days. So this is today. Far southeast Nebraska. I'm not really too worked up about it. And it's really those same areas again on Wednesday. that one I would keep an eye on eastern Nebraska a little bit more. And then finally on Thursday, again, probably off to our east on Thursday. All right. Well, with that, I do need to let you all go because I am all out of time and I have to go on TV here. And so I'm going to let everybody that's watching the recording go for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I will be back with you on Wednesday morning where we say hello to April and welcome in the much-needed moisture to our area. Until then, take care and God bless. Bye.